In this series of videos, I will explain the advertising business models of the gigantic tech companies, how they compete with each other, and how their products and acquisitions fit into their overall strategies. It's like a mini course. The goal is that at the end, you understand all the mechanics underlying the core businesses of some of the biggest tech companies in the world. This first episode is about Google versus Facebook. It's the basics. Do click that subscribe button under the video in order to be notified about the next ones. So, welcome to the advertising wars. Advertising business is what turned Google and Facebook into such incredibly huge companies. Together, they represent about 20% of the global advertising spending, more than 50% if you consider only digital advertising, and up to 60% of that in the US. Google is the biggest one, and advertising still represents around 90% of its revenue despite all its numerous other projects. Facebook is about 3 times smaller than Google, but it's still growing and approaching half of Google's revenue in the United States. But how exactly do they work? And is Facebook a threat to Google? In order to understand that, we need to understand how this advertising works in the first place. Around 70% of Google's revenue comes from AdWords, about 20% from AdSense, and the rest from other Google's projects. First of all, what's AdWords and how is it different from AdSense? As you'll see, it's important to understand this before we talk about Facebook and everything else. Put yourself in the shoes of any company, a small business or a large one, it doesn't matter. When you are a company, you need to find clients, and that's why you invest in advertising. You pay to show your products to people that might potentially be interested in buying it. And obviously the key here is targeting. If you don't target well, you will end up spending a lot of money to show your product to many people who don't care at all. And that's where Google AdWords becomes extremely powerful. Let's say you, as an individual, you're going to Los Angeles and you're looking for a hotel. So you'll go on Google and search for Hotel Los Angeles. And then you'll see this result by Booking.com, which is an ad. So Booking.com paid Google to show this advertising to people who would type exactly that, Hotel Los Angeles. And it makes sense. If that's what you're typing, then you're most likely really looking for a hotel in Los Angeles. So this result is extremely accurate. It's not invasive, since your intent is likely to buy what you're searching for. And in order to appear on top of these search results, companies bid various amounts of money on specific keywords. They pay per click. Basically, when you click on that link, that company will pay anywhere from a few cents up to $50 for the most competitive industries to Google. And so that company can set the maximum amount that it's ready to pay for each specific keyword or a set of keywords. Then Google uses its complex algorithm called AdRank to decide which ads of which company will appear for which keyword. Let's oversimplify it to help you understand. For example, let's say that you sell a product for $200 and your cost to produce it is $100. Now let's say that you dedicate a budget of $40 for advertising in order to keep a margin of $60. So $60 would be your profit on one sale of this product. It means that those $40 for the advertising budget have to generate enough clicks in order to generate at least one sale of your product. This is what we call conversion rate. Let's imagine that these $40 generate 40 clicks on your ads and one sale out of them. So one sale out of 40 is a 2.5 conversion rate. In this case, your cost per click will be $1. So if you find a specific keyword that generates a 2.5 conversion rate, you can set a maximum bid of $1 for that click. And once you'll get 40 clicks, you'll get one sale, all fitting in your budget. Congrats, you found a great spot. From here, it's all about optimization and competition. You need to find the most converting keywords and bid the right price for them compared to your competition. It becomes quite complex. And that's why there are countless independent agencies around the world who help businesses make the most out of AdWords. That's why Google AdWords is extremely powerful when it comes to targeting. Businesses can find out the exact keywords that people type when they are looking for a certain product or service. It's not invasive. That's how they can target those which are on the verge of making a purchase. Now let's compare that to Facebook. When you're browsing the newsfeed, you're not actively looking to buy something, but you still see a lot of ads with products that you might be interested in. And more businesses are paying Facebook for these ads, so it's taking some market share away from Google. So how does that work? Well, Facebook is also excellent at targeting, but in a different way. Instead of targeting by intent, like Google does with AdWords, Facebook is targeting by profile. Let's say young females from 25 to 32 years old, living in big cities, married. What can you target them with? Well, for example, with baby products. But it doesn't stop here. The main strength of Facebook, besides knowing these characteristics about you, is to know exactly what you like. How? Well, because you told Facebook that by clicking on like. So advertisers can narrow down their targeting on Facebook to people who like certain Facebook pages. Now think about all the pages that you liked and what does it say about you? Maybe you liked the page about science, the official Airbnb page, Udemy page, etc. Well, advertisers can use that information to target you with their products. However, these ads are still invasive compared to Google. Even if they're supposed to be well targeted, nothing says that you want to buy anything at any given moment. But the format, on the other hand, is much better than Google. Google AdWords only show ads as short texts, but on Facebook, this can be images and videos in addition to text. And it's been proven that all sorts of pictures beat everything else. They grab people's attention. But of course, the advertiser has to be creative to come up with the best illustrations. And since we spend an outrageously huge amount of time on Facebook, advertisers have plenty of opportunities to show us their ads on the newsfeed. Google is obviously aware of this problem, and that's why they are integrating small images to their search results as well when it comes to e-commerce. E-commerce just works perfectly with Google AdWords. Let's say you want to buy a camera and you type "buy camera" on Google. You'll see a lot of results of different cameras from various websites who paid for these shopping ads. And you'll see the images of these cameras, which attract the eye. Therefore, it all depends on the product or service that you sell. Either Google Ads, Google Shopping, or Facebook ads will be more adapted and more efficient. At the end, they both achieve the same goal, which is selling your products, but in a different way. The question is which type of ads will work best for you in terms of budget and conversion rate. So advertisers go where their potential clients go. Which brings me to the question, is Facebook a threat to Google? Well, it's definitely a huge competitor. It's taking market share. But it's not an existential threat as long as Google is still the dominant search engine in the world. As long as you'll go to google.com to search for stuff on it, Google will be fine. Finally, both of them have their advertising networks. Google has AdSense and Facebook has the Audience Network. These are all the websites that are partners of Facebook or Google and that display ads on their pages. Google has the largest network in the world with billions of page views, and Facebook is still behind, but it's growing. Here, ads are visual and they can be of any shape. It's basically all the kinds of ad banners that you see on websites. The best use of these ads is for retargeting purposes. Let's say you visit that website to buy a camera. This website will track your visit by installing a cookie on your computer. Later, when you'll go on a different website, you might see the ad from that previous camera website somewhere on it. I'm sure you encounter this regularly. So how does this happen? Well, a company pays Google to show a specific visual ad to all the people who have visited its website on the other websites of Google AdSense network. And it's also possible to target these websites per theme or even by domain name. So Facebook and Google definitely compete head-on. Even though their approaches are different, the money goes where the eyeballs go, where the lower price per click goes, and where the best conversion rate goes. That's why their advertising war continues on mobile, since most of the eyeballs and attention shifted to mobile screens in the recent years. Facebook has an advantage here, because using Facebook on mobile is extremely convenient and people spend too much time there. But Google search is not that obvious anymore on mobile, since the nature of mobile applications makes it less relevant. Instead of going on Google to search for something, you already have many specific apps that will respond to what you're looking for. But Google is a genius company, so don't worry about them. This was an introduction to the Google and Facebook ads, but there's much more to their war than what I've covered in this episode. In the next videos, we will keep exploring the different facets of the advertising wars between tech giants like Facebook, Google, Amazon, Bing, Snapchat, and many others. We will also explore their strategies and acquisitions such as YouTube, Oculus Rift, Google Home, Amazon Alexa, and all the others that are designed to expand the ecosystems of their parent companies to stay relevant.